All right. Game's not over, but the game is over. Tennessee lost to Oklahoma. And I don't know. A lot to say about this one. There's a lot to unpack that goes beyond the fact that you just lost to Oklahoma and what it means singularly to the season. Feels like a bit of an inflection point. I'll be completely honest. This is the A to Z Sports Big Orange game day reaction show. And it's brought to you by I got to list off everybody here. Make sure, hold on, I got to bring it up. Make sure I don't forget anybody. Barton Jury Insurance Group, Lipkcom Sports Analytics, Window Nation, and Factor Meals. We'll tell you about all of that here in a minute. But yeah, that's about as bad as it gets. I mean, that's I can make an argument that's the worst loss of the Heupel era. That's completely self-destructive. I mean, well, maybe not. I guess
I don't know.
South Carolina with the playoff on the line in 22, that Ohio State game last year,
playoffs were on the line tonight. I just don't know if I would say worse or worse, but
equal.
I mean,
there. You lost at home.
It's up there. No, it's up there. I just don't know if I would dub it number one.
And to a team that I would say pound for pound is not as good as you are, you lost to them at home, and I think Venables as a coach is not long for this world. You lost to a coach who's going to be fired soon, and it just that whole combination of stuff is just really, I don't know. It doesn't work in anybody's favor as far as anybody on that Tennessee sideline, and yeah. I like I said, the conversation kind of goes beyond just singularly this season to sort of like a macro sense of where exactly you're headed, because it almost, I don't know. I don't really want to start off here, but it kind of feels like Heupel's like stepped back as a coach. Am I wrong in thinking that? Like it feels like he's gotten the game management has been horrendous.
All right. I don't know if it's, trying to think how to say it properly. I don't know when this got brought up. It's been a while since this was brought up, but Heupel is old, like my era. Mark Richt. Today's era is James Franklin. I mean, let's just call it like it is. Gonna recruit well. Gonna beat the teams you're supposed to beat. In these games, something happens. I don't necessarily say that it's Heupel. I'm not saying that it's Tim Banks. All right. I'm not saying that it's Halsey. It's the fact of there's something though. Does that make sense? There's something there that we can't put it all together in the games you got to have.
Yeah.
To win a championship, to win the SEC, or hell, to not even win the SEC, to make it to the playoffs. Because now winning the SEC is, yes, you always want to win that, but that doesn't mean that's not the only way to get to the playoffs. Is what I'm getting at. And we've said this a while. Once again, it's been weeks ago that maybe he is. And I'm not saying he's a bad coach.
No, he's not a bad coach.
It's just,
yeah.
We've said, how many times have I said it? We talked about it at halftime. Our offensive system is very, very, very predictable. We get a big first down. There was a comment at halftime, and it was a great comment. We get a big first down or big play. We run the football. But what did I text you guys on the group text? Great. It was a hell of a throw. Hell of a throw. First down, we run the ball. you could see it as bright as day on TV. As soon as we lined up, the free safety started running down the box. Why not? We're going to run it. You know what I mean? That's the stuff that I go with. Is like we are very, very predictable. If you're going to be this predictable, you have to essentially be Army, Navy, Air Force and run, quote unquote, wing T and say we're going to run the same play 45 times today, and 7 of those 45 are going to crease you. But nobody does that but Army, Navy, Air Force. So it does get frustrating. No, we don't run a high school level defense. That's a BS comment. But you know, I just don't know if I'm telling you, I'm not the one to call for a coach to get fired, blah, 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 blah. That's not my thing. But I'm just saying, I do think Heupel is our James Franklin. He's going to win us 9 to 10 ball games a year. The odd year we'll get 11. And that's about our ceiling. That's what it feels like.
We were having this conversation last year and just kind of saying it feels like you've seen the ceiling and you've hit it. That it's the playoff. It's, you know what, last year you probably, given the right path, you probably could have made the playoff semifinal, but you weren't winning a national championship with that team you had last year. You just weren't. Like, nobody. Yeah. First of all, nobody was beating that Ohio State team, but
but we couldn't score. If Sampson didn't score, we weren't scoring. Let's just call it like it is.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you have a similar situation this year where you go, formidable football team, going to win, you know, 8, 9, 10 games. Like it's not going to be 10 games this year anymore, but you know, somewhere in that range. And that's fine. That is fine. But I think what really works against Heupel, and this is getting into, like I said, that macro discussion where it feels like this is really kind of an inflection point. I think you have 2 things going on. He never fires anybody, and it's off-putting because he's had performances out of some of these coaches that deserve firing, and he just doesn't do it. And then if coaching changes happen at all, he only hires his friends. And that's tough. Well, and that history has now built up. Well, hold on, just one second. Let me just
every coach does that.
So that's one thing. I mean, it's become a big talking point among fans. Is that he just doesn't do it, and he never has. He didn't fire a guy at UCF, doesn't do it now. And then on top of that, while he's not unlikable, definitely not unlikable, I would say generally speaking, he's likable. He doesn't have a connection with the fans. And he kind of likes it that way. Very dead in media. Just gives as little as possible. Doesn't have that charisma. Doesn't go out. Not even a shred of sort of a Bruce Pearl type. Guy you just saw leave, Tony Vitello. I mean, every fan in this fan base had a parasocial relationship with Tony Vitello because of how charismatic that guy was. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I think you're gonna see now Tennessee fans are gonna be quick to turn on this guy. And I'm not saying I'm doing it right now. I'm just saying I think that's what's about to happen. I think you're about to see that happen because of what we're talking about. Just there's elements working against him where I think this thing could flip like a light switch. Really quick.
Yes, I agree. It could flip. But that is such a far stretch. Sorry, I'm watching the World Series at the same time. That's why I paused right there. It's a far stretch to say because he's not in the public, he's not charismatic. Baseball and football are totally different, bud. I'm just telling you. I love baseball. That's my first love. But baseball and football are totally different. It is. I'm just telling you. And that has nothing to do if you're a good football coach or not. Nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do if you're a bad football coach. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like that. Fans are going to flip no matter what school you're at. Fans will be with you when you win, and they won't when you don't. That's sports. That's just sports. It's just what it is. So no, I know what you're saying. I just don't agree with the comment about that. Has nothing to do with the coaching style. It has nothing to do with if the football team is good or not. That just means, hey, I like the guy. I like the guy or I don't like the guy. So it doesn't matter to me in that sense. What do you expect? Do you expect the football coach of one of the top 10 most nationally recognized brands to go sit at Texas Roadhouse and hang out with the fans 3 nights a week? No, that's not how this works. As a fan, you want that. Listen, I promise you, I get it, and he is a fun guy to be around. But that has nothing to do with us losing to Oklahoma. That has nothing to do with us losing to Georgia. Has nothing to do with us losing to Alabama this year. We got our ass kicked, plain and simple.
It's not exactly.
It's just what it is.
Just saying that he should go down to the Texas Roadhouse and hang out with fans. It's not exactly what I'm saying. Like that's not. Tony Vitello didn't do that. Tony Vitello's kind of a recluse.
No, but you know what I'm saying.
He was such a personality. He was so likable, and he was, like I said, he was just so charismatic in public settings.
Who is the not this year? Let me say that this way. Who is arguably considered the best football coach of all time, all levels?
The best football coach of all time, all levels. I mean, yeah, Bill Belichick, and he's freaking
sucks in the media. Sucks in the media. Asshole as a human being.
Yeah.
See what I'm getting at? Watch this. Do you think Nick Saban was charismatic? No.
Winning heals all things, no doubt.
None of that has anything to do with being a good football coach. It doesn't.
But what I'm saying is that it can earn you runway, though. Because you can, Bruce Pearl's final year. Bruce Pearl's final year at Tennessee was terrible.
Credit with you. It earns credit with you. It doesn't earn credit with the powers that be, AD, president, and chancellor, and all that. No, it earns quote unquote street cred, but that has nothing to do with him keeping or losing a job. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
That's fair, but I guess I just look back, like I was gonna say, that final year with Bruce Pearl was terrible. You know, they got their head beat in by Michigan in his final game here, but everybody wanted him to stay because of who he was as a cult of personality at Tennessee.
Well, yeah, because what's this? He knew how to keep a job. He cheated. He lied. He did all the BS behind the scenes. He knew how to keep a job and go to the girls' game and take his shirt off in the student section and paint his chest. That doesn't mean he didn't break NCAA rules. It doesn't mean that he didn't lie and cheat the university. So we're not going to agree on that page. I'm not defending any coach. I'm just saying that has nothing to do with keeping or losing your job. That's all.
Well, we're getting off.
Personality does not make them a good or bad coach. The bottom line is, where I think we do agree, is a good of a human and all this stuff that people think of Josh Heupel. I do think he is our version of Mark Richt or James Franklin, whichever way we want to go. Because to me, James Franklin was Penn State's Mark Richt, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's, unless he takes some major turn, I think that's kind of coming into view. It's becoming pretty apparent. And here's the tough thing about what's coming up. Obviously, we're getting a little bit off the beaten path here. By a little bit, I mean a lot. Because we actually got to talk about what happened and talk about what's coming up. I mean, you got to go to Florida. You got to go to Gainesville, which is the ultimate just house of horrors. Absolute nightmare for Tennessee. You lose.
They almost beat Georgia today.
Yeah, you lose that game. Frankly, if you're asking me, it's a loss. Straight up, that's a loss. I don't even think it's a question right now. You're losing that game because you're going to go in there and you're going to completely self-destruct. That's the Heupel Classic. That game might be a noon game because right now you're a couple of snoozer teams. It might be at noon, and maybe that works in your favor. But outside of that, that's a loss. And then Vandy's Vandy. It's probably going to be close, but you beat Vandy until you don't, in my book. And
yeah, it's Vandy.
I mean, and if you lose to Vandy, are we talking about firing Heupel at the end of the season? I don't think so. Probably not. But you could be close. You could be sitting on the precipice of the hot seat for him. I'll tell you that much.
The only reason I say no is because of Vandy's record this year. If it's the normal year Vandy, 100%.
That's true. Yep. But I mean, when you look at this tonight, are we winning in Gainesville? Seriously, do you think so?
Well, luckily there's a game in between.
You got a snoozer in between. Got New Mexico State. That's true, and a bye week. Thank God.
But I don't know. I mean, Florida has. I've said it during the year. Florida has gotten better throughout the year. Yep. I don't think they're world beaters, but they've gotten better throughout the year. I think today, I watched a little bit of their game. I think they played their best possible game they could have ever played because of who they were playing. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
I don't think that Georgia or Florida is as good as they played today. You know what I'm saying? I think it's like the Iron Bowl. Auburn will play the best game of their year when they play Alabama, even though Auburn's not that good. Now, I do think it's going to be a freaking it's going to be a mental game that day, regardless of what anybody says publicly. We can sit here and say fire the guy all we want. He will feel pressure that day. Let's just call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
He will feel pressure in Gainesville going, I got to win in Gainesville and or beat Vanderbilt handily so I'm not on the hot seat this offseason.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just be honest. And I think today is because even Herb Street said it. We go out there and do what we're supposed to do and win the game. He even said, this will be the beginning of the end for Oklahoma. So to me, how would it not be the same quote for us is I guess what I'm getting at. And to me, I think that's a question. And I would love some comments on that. How, if they thought it would be the beginning of the end for Oklahoma, if we won, why would they not think that about us as well? Because we have the same record.
Yeah. Heupel has obviously more goodwill built up. I mean, Venables has stunk up to this point, and Heupel resurrected this thing from the dead. And he's always going to get his flowers for that, even if this thing goes into crapper from here. That's going to be true. 2 out of 4 against Alabama. You can't take that away. And like I said, brought this entire thing back from the dead, but has also just shown the Nico thing was a clown show, and his game management this season's been a clown show. And the fact that he never fires anybody is a clown show. And like, there's just stuff you can't overlook where as good as it's been, there's still all these elements. Like you said, like it's just that he's great, but he's Mark Richt. Like it's hard to get past.
When you said it that way, so one of my coaches, good friends, he's a huge Penn State guy. So we've talked about this before because why not? James Franklin or Penn State, where they were as a program when they hired James Franklin, could not have hired a better human. Not like personal human, but like a better person for that job at that moment to get them back to relevancy. That's where we were when we hired Heupel. Now, ours was not the scandal that theirs was, if that makes sense. Even though there was Bill O'Brien in between. But they were essentially overlooked and overshadowed like we were when Heupel took over. And Boom. Right? Maybe he is a rebuilder, not a championship winner. Let's just call it like it is.
Yeah. And those guys exist.
And those are the ones that are going to win 9, 10, odd year 11 ball games.
Yep.
Let's go, guys. There's not many Ryan Days out there. No, he did inherit a good program, but by God, he put in his time to get said program.
Like Kirby.
Ryan
Day's a little born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Kirby was a little bit also, but it's just tough. We do let's do this because I'm interested to see what people say. Genuinely. Our first segment of the post game brought to you by the great folks at Window Nation. Drop into the comments right now, as we do every week. And everybody who's watching, is a ton of y'all. It's just a big funeral right now, it feels like, for the season. Drop into the comments and give us your one word for how you're feeling right now. Oklahoma 33, Tennessee 27. You got to play Florida in a couple weeks. One word for how you're feeling right now. Crompton and I will give ours. And we'll do that right after I tell you about Window Nation. Whether you have old drafty windows or cheap builder grade, now is the best time to replace your windows. Get top quality, energy efficient windows from a trusted company, all at a reasonable price. With installation crews averaging over a decade of experience, you can trust Window Nation to install your windows right the first time. And they offer a lifetime warranty on all your windows, so you can relax knowing your home is protected far into the future. And you can save big right now. Buy 2 windows and you can get 2 free. And then make no payments for 2 years. You won't have to deal with monthly payments, a down payment, or interest until 2027. Hurry and go take advantage of this deal. 2 windows, 2 for free. Don't miss out. It's the most popular offer they run. 866-90-NATION or windownation.com. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free. Window Nation. Oh, boy. Let's see. Again, one word for how you're feeling. So many of these. Yep. Nick Walker. Disgusted. James Fair says goalish. Jeffy, pissed. Taylor with 1. I don't even know what that is. Tyler Ross, heartbreak. James, kitten, ejected from Steve. Destin says coach. Jeffy, pathetic. Josh, Tyler says sad. Touchdown boy says disappointed. Whirlwind from Christopher. Ian says McIntyre. Jerry, doomed. I don't know I hope we're not doomed.
No.
Crump, I'll throw it to you. One word for how you're feeling.
I mean, I could go a couple different ways. Seeing these comments makes me feel like if I'm anything remotely optimistic, I'll get roasted.
You will regret it.
No, actually, I won't. They will. I'll just say it that way. Everybody has learned that I'll say that comes to my head. You know what I mean? I'll think later. No, but I don't want to use frustrated again, but I am frustrated. But I'm gonna go with ghosts because I feel like Joey was seeing ghosts tonight.
It was tough to watch.
I do. And there's that old cliche says, fake it till you make it, and that type of stuff. The hardest position in sports to fake it till you make it is quarterback. Let's just call it like it is. Or a pitcher, so to speak. There was something off. Am I ready to give up on him? No. God almighty, hell no. Not a chance. He had a bad game. He did. Or no, take it back. It wasn't even a bad game. 3 plays in the first half. And then for some reason, the third quarter always seems to be off.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I'm going.
Jason says hopeless. Kenneth lost. Cameron, clock. Victor, disappointed. Sean, chokers. Again, one word for how you're feeling right now. So many answers here. Steve, empty. The wise man, unfulfilled. Power T says, over. Ian Mona says, Merklinger. Oof, I'm not ready to go there. Mark says, disgusted. David, defeated. Tony, disappointed. Charlie says, Fulmer. The shades of Fulmer. Shades of Fulmer in this one. I will
say so you don't want his ass back, trust me.
Jason, violated. David, deflated. I don't know exactly where I'll go. I'll kind of stick with the theme that I've had this entire time.
Oh Lord.
And I mean this in a number of ways. I'll say inflection. It's an inflection point. It feels like this was a bit of a fork in the road where you win this, you continue on the path that you've had to these 10-win seasons. Maybe you maybe end up with a playoff spot, even though it feels like probably you're going to lose in Gainesville. And you would keep going. Now, it's what we've been talking about. It's going to be sort of the tinge of the hot seat for Heupel. It's just going to, the burner's on. All right. So here you go. Starting up, and we got to start having these conversations of is he your Mark Richt? How long is he really going to last? Can he do it? And then if you lose at Florida, it's suddenly going to come, okay, maybe the hot seat's actually on. Maybe where exactly are we at? Where is this program going? Are you going to be even worse next year? Yada, yada, yada. And that's where you're at. And that sucks. And I mean, an 8-4 season, a 9-3 season is fine. That's passable. 8-4 season, not great. 7-5 season, we're having conversations. Because that would involve a loss to Vandy. And I hope, what William says, probably a wake-up call, evident that something needs to change. Man, I hope so. I hope, because really the point that you've reached is somebody needs to get fired. You've reached that point 10 times over in Heupel's tenure. Mm-hmm. But like at a certain point, there's, where you always hear kind of at the end of some coaching tenures is like the AD approached him and told him, you had to fire an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator, or whatever. And then that happens. And then it's like 3 weeks later and the head coach is fired too. You haven't reached that point. But I think at the end of the season, you've reached the somebody has to pay the piper. If you lose at Florida, 100%.
This is where
somebody has to pay. That's like where you're at.
Well, I'm trying to think how to say this. I don't know if I'm fully there. Where I'm at is what I've been preaching for 5 years, whatever it is. At what point are we going to get valuable, legitimate depth? That's the thing to me.
Ever.
Because the scheme defensively, regardless of what you people want to sit here and argue with me about, is there. But the depth is not there. Does that make sense? Like, the scheme is there, but the depth at secondary, not there. The depth at linebacker is decent, but it's not, hey, you rolled your ankle and we're going to get you spatted real quick. We don't have to sit here and go, oh, crap. They're about to run inside zone and there's nothing we can do about it. You know what I'm saying? The depth at O-line. Too many sacks tonight. That's what I'm going with. Now, granted, who recruits? Coaches. So I'm not calling for anybody's head. I'm just sitting here saying, yes, something's got to give, but where is the logical place to give? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here saying Heupel's got to get fired, things got to get fired, blah, 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 or this kid needs to transfer or whatever. I'm just saying we need depth. Yes, coaches recruit. We either need to bring on call it like it is. We either need to bring on an Ed Ogeron style recruiter, right? A Trooper Taylor style recruiter or something, because our depth is not there.
Yeah.
Because here's the reality. Somebody asked me about the scheme. Why is it not creative? That's just what it is. The scheme is the scheme is the scheme. Look at Clemson. Clemson's scheme is not creative. Clemson's scheme has never changed. When they don't have good players, look what they get. They get beat by Duke. I mean, I'm just calling it like it is.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the same thing. Now, we run a different scheme, but it's a version of the same stuff. It's very vanilla is what I'm getting at. That's why. Like, Clemson is going to throw go routes, screens, power read, tighten up the middle, and power. I just pretty much told you Clemson's offense. We're going to run option routes outside, inside zone, a version of inside zone that's a fold play, and what I call smoke screens. I just told you our offense. When you are that vanilla, you better be able to have dudes all over the place. The better your players, the less you got to do. Just what it is.
Well, I mean,
not so good your players, the more creativity you got to have where you can fool people. Does that make sense?
I think you really saw it with Kirby's 2 championships, what you're talking about. Because I don't find Kirby smart to be a revolutionary coach. He's not. He's
taking Nick Saban stuff and running it at Georgia.
Yeah, he's not the greatest mind out there. He's not reinventing the wheel. He's not doing anything. He just, in those 2 years where he won those national titles, it was just waves and waves of dudes who could beat you. And it was just unreal. And now he's lost those. And he's not as good. Like, it's period. You can tell that his teams have taken a dip. And you're just not bringing in that type of talent here. And that it's a tough pill to swallow, but it is what it is. And we do have to get to this. This is a much more fun segment after a win. But I think it's a good talking point also to lead us into our final segment where we kind of get into the stats and a preview for the next game. We got to give grades to Joey Aguilar and talk about where exactly he's at. And you have probably his best game of the season last week and probably his worst game of the season this week. So where exactly do we land? We'll tell you after we talk quickly about Factor Meals. Quarterback performance is always the biggest factor in wins and losses in football, and nutrition is a huge factor for you in your health and fitness goals, and that's where Factor makes your life easier with their chef-prepped, dietitian-approved meals. They make it easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious no matter how hectic your season gets. More variety and more meals with Factor. Choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp at no extra cost. They also support your wellness goals. Enjoy more GLP-1 friendly meals and new Mediterranean diet options packs with protein and good for you fats. Eat smart at factormeals.com/ATOZ Sports50 off and use code ATOZ Sports50 off to get 50% off your first box. Plus free breakfast for 1 year. Free breakfast for 1 year. Ridiculous. ATOZ Sports50 off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box and free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. What grade are you giving Joey in this one, Crump? Because it was a bit of a tough watch.
I'm going to go C-. 65% completion percentage, 393, 3 touchdowns. But, excuse me, the reason why it's a C- because you hear those and you go, it's a pretty damn good game. Strip sack, fumble for a touchdown, 2 costly interceptions. And now the strip sack, I can sit here, I can argue and go, not on him because it's an RPO and he's looking the other way. but ultimately you are the quarterback, right? So that one play is why it's not a D, because that wasn't 100% him. The other two, just bad throws. So 2 plays go from an A to a C minus.
That's fair.
I mean, yes, 2 plays. Now, is that a little generous? Maybe, but I don't think it was a full D or lower personally because of the other factors that he had. O-line didn't play well. Pressure in his face. Sacked a good amount of times. So it's a barely passing grade. I'll say it that way.
Eric says B minus, Jason C, Nick says D, Steve C minus, Sean D, David D. Paul says C minus. Are you high?
Nope.
And he included a word that I can't say on this family show. I'm pretty much right there with you. He made enough. He made enough plays for it to not be a failing grade.
Yeah,
but it in no way was a passing grade either. It's just a tough night all the way around for everybody, for all the players, for the coaches, for the fans, the fans showed up tonight. Fans didn't do anything wrong, frankly. They came heated and ready to go, and Tennessee laid a giant egg out there on the football field. So Heupel's first loss to somebody who is not Kirby Smart at home since 2021, if I'm thinking correctly. And that loss in 2021 was to Lane Kiffin, the mustard bottle game. It's and I mean that's another one that makes it kind of feel like this is a bit of a monumental moment. Is just like, oh, you've turned a page where, okay, we're losing one at home now. All right, that's different. That's that's a little bit of a new one, and yeah, not great. Not great at all. Let's get to our final segment here. We got to dive in to the stats and talk about where exactly you sit. The next game's New Mexico State, but we're going to talk about that Florida game probably for the most part.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, do I even want to look? Because I think the team stats, you're actually going to find, Tennessee, more first downs, more yards. Rushing tonight was horrendous, but less penalties. Oklahoma had 2 turnovers. You had 3. Not great, but
we over doubled their passing yards, like over doubled.
Yeah, there was
button rushing yards though.
Yeah, plenty to go off of here. And we'll tell you quickly about the Lipkcom Sports Analytics program. Go beyond the box score with the Lipkcom Sports Analytics program. Turn your passion into a profession. Get off the sidelines and into the action with the Lipkcom Sports Analytics program, where you'll learn to make the calls that count. It's an online program through Lipkcom University in Nashville. Go check it out at lipscomb.edu. They're turning sports fans into data-driven decision makers in the exciting world of professional athletics. At Lipkcom, we're not just watching the game, we're changing how it's played through our innovative sports analytics program. Lipscomb.edu for more. The rushing yards obviously stand out, 1.8 yards per carry. So that's horrible. But also passing, 393, 29 of 45 for Aguilar, but 2 interceptions that were extremely costly and really just poor decisions. And where that leaves you is a team that's reeling, a team that's injured, a team that needs a bye week and gets a bye week. This is good. And then a snoozer, essentially a second bye week.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to go to Gainesville. If you can get a little bit of your health back, what is there to be optimistic about here, Cromp? Let's stick to the bright side if we can. What's good going into this final stretch with Florida on the horizon?
I mean that our receivers. We got 3 receivers that can play. We do. We got. They're fun to watch. explosive. They can make plays. That's about it. Like I'm being serious. And I say that meaning like O-line. The more I keep thinking back, I just don't know how much he's got confidence in the O-line. Because we can't run the football this year. We just can't. Unless our guys are getting a lot of yards after contact. We are an inside zone running team. Okay. Now, yes, we will run a version of power, but how we run it is still inside zone. All we're doing is taking one of the guards and just wrapping them around the center. So it's still inside zone. That requires push off the ball, physically moving the D lineman with double teams. We're not getting a lot of push. We're not.
It's tough.
That's where I keep going back and going, I want us to run the football. I don't know if we can, not because the running backs, but if that hole is not made at least a whole gap wide, we won't average 4.5 yards a carry. We'll average 1.8. And I love our running back group, but I also don't think we just have a sure cut, damn, that dude's going to run over you, or he's going to make you miss an open space, or any of those things. I don't think we have just an actual playmaker at tailback. I like that we got a quote-unquote three-headed monster, but that doesn't mean that we average 5 yards a carry because we have three guys that can just spell each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that I'm excited and optimistic about the receiving core, but I mean, getting Davis back helps us at tight end.
Well, and at this point, I think it was Kenneth in the comments brought up, why would Jermod McCoy come back? I would advise him not to, frankly.
Well, we talked about it. I think it was like 3 weeks ago we said that and was like, or I think it was after it was the Bama week, I think. We're like, if we don't beat Bama, he's probably not coming back this year. He's going to be a top 40 pick regardless.
With no playoff, I don't see the point. I don't.
Well, I don't think he comes back. I truly don't. Once we lost to Bama, I didn't think he was coming back.
Yeah,
I really didn't.
Was back at practice this week. Sad to say that it was close, but was probably set to come back after the bye week. But
yep, say he comes back, he's not playing in the bowl game.
No, heck no.
So at this point, go ahead and get our players that are going to be here next year the reps. Just what it is. Try to get as much experience as you can. That's the crap part. I mean, there's a lot to be positive about and up about, but there's also a lot to be real about. We're not good up front on offense. We're just not. We're very average at the tailback position. And remember, that was my biggest concern going into the year because replacing a Sampson is very hard. It's hard to do. I think Joey's done well for what he walked into or the time he walked in it. I just wish he would, and I know he does too, I wish you guarantee it, he wishes he had about 4 throws back throughout the year. But defensively, our front seven's played well. We just need, like tonight we lost 2 guys up front, and then we're playing our third string defensive end. Our third string defensive end There's a reason why you're third string. Let's just be honest. And so that's where being able to create depth goes, okay, hypothetically, Charlie plays left defensive end. Well, my right end goes down. Okay, his backup comes in. Well, typically, the backup will, if he's good enough, will back up both sides. Okay, well, shoot. Well, maybe he doesn't. Well, that's where it goes, all right, well, now my backup went down. I need my other side's number 2 to go in, not my right side number 3. Does that make sense? We don't have that. We don't. It almost feels like we're literally going, you play only right, you play left, you play 3 technique, you play shade. Is what it feels like. Got to be adaptable, got to be able to move around and have, once again, and have depth. We don't. We just don't.
No. And again, this is just such a larger conversation. I think Heupel, I don't know if lazy is the right word, but was a little complacent in the transfer portal this offseason. It shows. And what's really tough about that is that the pieces that he did get, I mean, like Colton Hood, what a steal. And you could have gone way deeper than that in a transfer portal, and you just didn't. And that is the way that Vanderbilt is winning right now. It's crazy. They got stinking 27-year-olds on their offensive line all the way across. And
yes,
yeah,
and that's a touchy subject, personally.
It is. That's a big conversation.
That one. I don't think that's sustainable. I don't.
Probably not.
It's not sustainable for the long haul, because then you're literally teaching. You're having to teach the same scheme and never adapt, never get deep with it every year, because you got 5 new kids every year. Or, I mean, they're the oldest. They got 60% of the team is 6th-year seniors.
That's crazy.
but that's what, you can't do that. And that's what somebody asked me, like, how bad it'll be a new QB. Do I think a transfer QB is better than playing a 5-star based on Joe's performance? Well, excuse me. Once you get to college, the stars don't mean anything. What's his face? He's actually at Florida now. Went to UNLV in Louisville.
Player?
Yeah, quarterback. Harrison.
Oh, Harrison Bailey.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, or look at Nico. Stars don't mean anything once you get on campus. Can he play or can he not?
Yeah. And
so I do think every year that's one position you need to bring somebody in every year, though, that can either compete to play, compete to be the backup, and give you depth at that position. You got to have depth there. But ultimately, you got to have depth, front 5 up front 7 on defense, and freaking tailback.
Yeah.
Got to. It's just what it is.
Well, we'll see what happens. Oh, boy. Bye week next week. We will not be here, but we'll be back for the New Mexico State game. Again, win, lose, rain, shine. Better not lose that one. Say that. Hopefully just a little get right couple of weeks and you can reconvene. It does feel this is the one. Basketball literally starts this week, and it kind of feels like you're like, all right, it's basketball season now. Little bit of that now that the playoffs off the table. But hey, basketball season does start this week, and it's going to be fun. I think they're going to have a really good team. For me personally, Josh Elander got a big commit for the baseball team today. You know, things looking up in other areas.
Didn't he take Florida's top assistant too?
Yes, just incredible.
Just a big F you to them. I love that.
Yeah, it's great. Oh, the Dodgers just won the World Series. That sucks.
Oh, you just you're ahead of me. Hold on.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were watching it.
Oh, I am. Now I got double play. Now it's on
a double play. Oh, God. That sucks. That sucks so hard.
Listen,
Blue Jays
to end baseball season, 2 best teams played, and you went into extra innings. You can't ask for much more.
No, that's as good as it gets. Yeah,
it is.
I just love. I love the run from the Blue Jays. That's just brutal. But as a Texas Rangers fan, I have been there in 2011. Was in a pretty dark place after that series against St. Louis. Put in our time. We finally won 1 2 years ago. You get there. Anywho. Oh, well, that's it. Charlie Burris, former Vols quarterback, Jonathan Crumpton. Thanks to everybody for watching. Seriously, it's a ton of fun despite loss. We couldn't do this without you. Talking through this and having therapy right after the game takes some of the sting off. Hopefully, we did that for anybody who's watching. Yeah, that's it. So
I just said, see us next August.
I mean, if we're being totally honest, wouldn't be surprised if the numbers fall off after this one. But it is what it is.
Listen, I'll argue with people to make it good again. Screw it.
Yeah,
I'll just argue with everybody, no matter what. Screw it. No,
and what it's the game in Gainesville. We're going to get viewers because it'll either go one of 2 ways. You either win in Gainesville, which is going to be the first time since 2003, and that would be great, or you're going to lose in Gainesville, and things are going to be in a bit of a tough place, and you're going to want to tune and talk about that too. So don't like
there will be a lot of, if God forbid that happened, worst case scenario, if it does go down that way, there'll be a lot of people, including ESPN. Oh, I'm going to call that, including ESPN, that ask if the hot seat is starting to warm up.
Yeah. That talk starts.
Not that it's hot, but they've turned the burner on. You know what I'm saying? Like that's.
Yes.
So
we'll be here. And these Volunteers YouTube channel, come be in these streams with us. It's always so much fun. But thank you for watching. That is way too late. Although we get an extra hour of sleep tonight, so that's something. Yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah, there's some positivity, some optimism. Get an extra hour of sleep. So good stuff. All right, we will talk to you 2 weeks from now.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.